Attention, the following broadcast has been approved by Outcasted OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up guys, it's Mugen Ross here giving you this week's review of Smackdown, where there's not much wrestling, but that's to be expected because this is the first episode of WWE's draft. This is where both brands of Raw and Smackdown decide to swap wrestlers over to different promotions. If you know American football and some football seasons, they draft players to different teams. It's very much the same format. We had Paul Heyman talk about how Roman Reigns has withdrawn himself because he's not going to be returning for a long time and isn't going to hug the spotlight. So the pressure is now on Nick Aldis to make a very good decision of who his first pick will be. And we then have an NXT kind of like talk about how who's next, who's going up to the main roster for their hard work and efforts in NXT. And we will see who gets drafted from NXT throughout the episode. And I thought there were some cool ones, a bit questionable ones, but we will get into my thoughts on the draft. We open up with a very interesting stipulation going on of the contract signing between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles. The reason why I say stipulation is because this is a dream match for quite a lot of fans. These two have never wrestled each other, and I thought that was always cool to have two guys that have been former Bullet Club members that have never really crossed paths. They've both done Japan, they've both done Ring of Honor, they've both done Impact, now both in WWE. They can finally collide, and I thought it was awesome. And AJ Styles, if people didn't realise, it's two Georgia boys going for the biggest title and getting to fight for the first time. So even AJ Styles acknowledges this is a first time ever match, which I thought was awesome to see. We also get him acknowledging why people booed him. LA Knight got under his skin. He doesn't respect LA Knight. It happened. But he got his composure back. He knows he is phenomenal, and that's why he won the number one contender spot to go against Cody. He says to Cody, "I do respect you, though. I've got we went down a lot of the same path, and I know one person who made me learn a lot probably taught you the same thing, to stand on your own 2 feet and to build upon yourself." And he said that guy's name was the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. He said, "I learned a lot from your dad, so I respect you, but I know what it takes to hold a belt with such weight like that. And at Backlash, we're going to see if you can carry the weight of that title." Cody also states the mutual respect, mirroring the same path. Said he admires how much, his Rhodes family means to him. But when he puts Cody in front of Rhodes on the dotted line on Backlash, this isn't a dream match. This isn't it's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be a must-win for Cody, as he is stating he has to carry this title. And I thought it was really cool. AJ Styles kind of finishes it off with a shake of the hand, and he said, "It was beautiful to see your story of winning the belt, but it's a shame your title reign story is going to end at Backlash," meaning AJ will win, which I thought was cool. Little bit of added things. Triple H surprised Cody Rhodes with his music hitting as he walks out to do the draft announcements, and Cody is basically asked to stay by Triple H because of the champions being protected. Why doesn't he announce SmackDown's first pick? Because he will stay on SmackDown. And Triple H will be the Raw representative saying who drafted on Raw. So we get Bianca Belair as the first draft. The EST is staying with SmackDown. Then the main event, Jey Uso, is staying on Raw. And then the first NXT call-up, and arguably one a lot of people saw coming, but it was great to actually finally see it happen. SmackDown is getting a Carmelo Hayes, and I'm very excited for this. Seth stays on Raw. What was interesting about the Carmelo Hayes, when they showed the NXT arena and everyone there waiting for this announcement, he was not there, because he walks out, talks about how Cody cut a promo saying about if you come for the king, you better not miss. And Mello went, it's funny that, because Mello don't miss. Every time he shoots, he doesn't miss. So he calls out Cody and says, I want a title shot. And Cody, being Cody, goes, yeah, let's do it tonight. I haven't forgot my gear. Let's go. We then go into kind of one of the first matches, which was very fast. So there's not a lot of great notes here on it. LWO versus Las Fantasma again. Angel and Berto versus Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio. The match was really good. Dragon Lee took a really nasty bump on the outside when he slid through, and Angel lifted the ropes. We also got Rey getting a hot tag and very quickly goes to work. Hits what looks like a Phoenix Rana, I believe they call it, and a Code Red. Tag to Dragon Lee when Rey Mysterio hit a 619 as well, and Dragon Lee hit Project Dragon for them two to win. Santos comes out, says, I am a man of many things, but I am never a liar. Me and Electro Lopez have been working hard to get the CCTV footage of that arena to show that we didn't jump Dragon Lee, referring to the Mania match that happened, and we quickly find out it was Carlito. As this footage is shown, Carlito quickly grabs Dragon Lee's back of the head, throws him into Rey, and they run out of the ring. Selena screams, what are you doing? And Carlito just runs off. We all kind of expected this, but it's cool that they are keeping to it, making it happen. Rey Mysterio really has this problem of adding new members and making them instantly tag with him instead of, like, giving the spotlight to the previous people you've already added. Like, you went from, you had Carlito in Puerto Rico, so then you hadn't had him the next time, and then when an opportunity came for you to have him, you picked Andrade instead. So you could kind of see why Carlito did what he did. We get what I can't even really call a match. We get a 30-second squash like we always do. Bron Breakker comes out, and against someone I personally have a lot of interest for and really want them to start booking him more and fixing a lot of his situation, Cedric Alexander. But all I could say is Cedric Alexander goes to do a high fly move, does his springboard backflip, Bron Breakker spears in mid-air, gets a 1, 2, 3. We done. We get an Uncle Howdy teaser flash on the replay screen, which I thought was really cool, and we also get it towards the end of Smackdown. This one was a lot easier to see. What you get if you slow it down was a piece of paper in the middle of what looked like a circle and candles around it. So many people would say like a seance or like a ritual prayer of just remember who you are wrote on it. So I'm quite interested to see where the progression goes with this. A lot of us are saying it's the Uncle Howdy teasers, but it could be someone else as well, kind of still playing off that. But I think the QR codes make it very clear. It's following what Bray did when Bray returned, that it's going to be an Uncle Howdy. We get Tiffy speaking to Nick Aldis, being like, where's my match opportunity? I took out Bayley, I took out Naomi, I deserve a title shot for this. And Nick Aldis was like, well, I was going to make you go to the back of the line, but someone talked to me different. So yeah, you're going to have another one-on-one match with Naomi. Whoever wins that goes against Bayley at Backlash, which, cool. See where that's going. Bayley comes out, has a back and forth with Tiffany again about it, and Tiffany was like, yeah, no, you should sit ringside so you can see what you couldn't do, which I thought was interesting. The next set of rounds, we get Michelle McCool and Tori Wilson being the legends to come out and do the drafts. Randy Orton stays to SmackDown. Bron Breakker has been swapped over from SmackDown to Raw. I wonder how that's going to play out. Maybe SmackDown try and play for him back on next week's rounds on Raw. We will see. Because they've done that before with John Cena. He got SmackDown to Raw to then SmackDown, I'm pretty sure, in one night. SmackDown gets Nia Jax, which I thought was very interesting, especially because she has been a very big staple on Raw, especially involving Rhea's situations and everything. Liv Morgan is staying on Raw, which makes the most sense because of the Revenge Tour, and Rhea, I don't think Rhea's going to be going anywhere, staying on Raw. So, we get Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga very annoyed with the Tribal Chief withdrawing, and the fact of the Bloodline has not been drafted, and he basically said to Paul Heyman, I want you to say that again about me adding new people in, is the reason why they don't know who they're getting with the Bloodline. As that goes to go down, Kevin Owens jumps them, and Tama Tonga and Kevin Owens have a massive brawl. It looks like it gets separated. We quickly get pulled away from that to an interview with Kayla Braxton, to Bianca. Bianca is very happy she's the first draft, but hopes Jade also gets drafted. But her main focus right now is Backlash to go against Kabuki Warriors. It's no secret she's been going against Damage Control for a long time and wants to put it behind her. And this would be an extra nail in the coffin because Damage Control is breaking at the seams right now. So if they win the tag belt, it means a lot. Kabuki Warriors come out to confront her, kind of just shout back at her. They don't get any mic time, they just kind of like face off. Jade walks out to even the odds. And as they look like they're about to fight, Tama Tonga and Kevin Owens interrupt, throwing each other outside and going straight towards the ring. They keep brawling and fighting in the ring for a while, and the numbers look stacked against Kevin Owens. Randy comes out and helps stop both of the Bloodline members in Solo and Tama Tonga, and we then get an announcement that Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa versus Randy Orton and Kevin Owens is now going to be happening for Backlash, and I'm very excited for this match. It will be very cool. Round 3, we get the Dudley Boys, we get Devon, which is one I enjoy, and then the not so Bubba Ray. I don't care for Bully Ray, like, just, yeah. His viewpoints in wrestling and some of the stuff he's said on podcasts, I'm not a big fan, but we look past it. We look forward to enjoying the draft. LA Knight is staying on SmackDown, but you could see the Raw team are visibly upset by this. Maybe they make a play on their Raw episode to bring LA Knight to Raw. Ricochet is staying on Raw, which I was very happy about. I didn't expect to see him on TV time being drafted because they've not used him incredibly, but when they have, he has done great matches, so it's good to see that they are still keeping a focus on Ricochet. The Bloodline finally get drafted to SmackDown, but the most interesting part was Jimmy Uso was never mentioned in this Bloodline. He has been fully officially kicked out. And they also only said Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, because Roman also withdrew himself. So I think this is a brand new Bloodline that's being forced upon the rest of the former members, which I think is very cool storyline telling and making the draft add to it. Sheamus is staying on Raw. He was originally a SmackDown guy, but he did show up on Raw, and he is now staying there, which I'm very excited for. We now have a Naomi vs Tiffany match, and once again, I can't really massively hype this match because it felt very short, other than Naomi did some incredible moves. I really liked her sliding kick she did straight to Tiffany. There's a really cool, unique face driver where she leg locked her head and drove her down with it. They both have a really cool moment where they go to do both face busters, both slam hit the ground, both of them down. Then we have Bayley hyping Naomi to try and get back up, and Nia Jax comes out of nowhere because she's now drafted to jump Bayley. Slams her into the commentary desk, knocks her unconscious. Naomi goes to try and help, and Naomi gets thrown straight into a ring post. The match ends in a DQ because of this, but Tiffany sees the opportunity to be a bit harsh and make a fool of the two of them, drags them both in the ring, hits the prettiest moonsault on both and says, "Don't mess with me." We get a backstage segment of Montez and Angelo Dawkins talking about how they're going to go against A-Town Down, and that means they're going to stay on SmackDown because it's an easy win for them. And B-Fab backs them up, said doesn't matter where we'll be drafted, regardless, once they win, that's an easy ticket for us to stay on SmackDown. Which is very true, and I like that. We get Teddy Long and JBL here for the final draft announcements, but just before that, we get a video package of Carrion getting AOP to beat the ever-living Hal out of my favourites, the New Catch Republic. And said it doesn't matter where they're drafted, either to Raw or they stay here on SmackDown, they will keep causing chaos till they get what they want, and that will be the final testament. So we go into the draft. SmackDown selects AJ Styles. Alpha Academy are staying on Raw. Andrade has been formally moved to SmackDown, which I think is very cool. Pardon me there, I'm still recovering from a bit of a cold. And the last and final one that shocked a lot of people, Kiana James from NXT is moving to Raw. I'm quite excited for this. It wasn't the NXT one I expected to be called up straight away. I think we're going to get a few more, especially on Raw. I think they're going to really showcase some great NXT talent that has been through the past few months get called up. But I loved it. I love to see this. And we get the main event between Carmelo Hayes and Cody Rhodes, and those two just cooked. I wish they just had longer time, but draft episodes, your wrestling time is very much cut short, so I don't get to talk a lot about wrestling, more who get drafted to what brand. But there was a really cool jumping lariat that Carmelo did that we've seen him do quite a few times. There's a really awesome spot where Cody Rhodes and Carmelo both do the jump to go both hit their cutters and failed. There was a spot where Cody Crossroads gets mocked by Melo to then Cody countered it and hits a Cody cutter of his own. Melo kicked out of that, but then as I said, when they missed the jumps, Cody found a way to power through, hit his Crossroads, and get a 1-2-3 win. This SmackDown wasn't a lot of wrestling to talk about, not a lot of stories, but those are still good episodes, especially when draft happens. My only problem with the draft was a lot of it felt predictable if people were staying where they were. There were only a couple of changes. I think the big one to really drill home, Carmelo Hayes is going to be a staple on SmackDown because he really showed up in that match, and I think they're going to really push him. And Bron Breakker moving brands is a very interesting choice because they've only really been using Bron Breakker to do squash matches in SmackDown. So I wonder what his first proper official feud will be on the Raw brand, because you're not going to want him squashing people and being the next Goldberg on Raw either. But let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, do all of those fun things. Stay tuned to our next reviews. That will be Monday Raw, because you're going to want to know who got drafted. And we will see you all on our next reviews.